Alrighty, guys. So, well, this will be our last but not least topic of our course for this semester, and we'll be looking at the comparative English and Spanish phonemic systems, consonants, spelling, and pronunciation. Okay, we're just gonna be looking at some comparison of some consonants, like the most used in Spanish and in English, so that way we understand a little bit better about them. So let's begin. Well, just first of all, let me tell you that this lesson you will find it right here in the FAUSAC platform um, in the last chart right here, the last um, how do you call it, block. Okay, and right here it says English and Spanish consonants, comparative overview, spelling and pronunciation, right? So if you click right here, you will be able to find this presentation we'll be looking at right now, so you can take a look at it, and then I will be uploading the video as well. Okay, so right here. Okay, so basically this chart right here is the Spanish and English consonant phoneme charts, which you will also be finding in the um, FAUSAC platform. I'm going to upload it right there. So um, this one will basically let us know which uh, words, like the symbols of the, I mean, which letters, the symbol of the phonemes, and like the features of them, what features they are. Okay, so for example, if you notice right here, it's telling us below that the phonemes circled in purple are shared phonemes, meaning that those are phonemes that are you will be able to find in Spanish and in English. The ones in red are only for Spanish, and the ones in blue are only found in English. Okay, so knowing that, let's take a look to a couple of them. For example, notice that this M phoneme, we will be able to know that it is a nasal bilabial. If you look at the other one right here, which is the N, it's a nasal alveolar. Okay, this one right here is the N, which is nasal palatal with the ñ, right? This one right here is a nasal velar. For example, like the W right here, we'll know that it's a glide bilabial, right? Glides bilabial. If we look at the P or the B sound, we'll be able to know that these are stops bilabials, right? For example, the T is in tango, this one is in stop alveolar, right? What other ones right here, like this one, which is for Spanish only, this one is a trill alveolar as well, and so on. You will be able to identify like the features of each phoneme. Knowing that, let's move on to the next part. So voiceless top phonemes. We have some voiceless top phonemes, which are the, the P sound, the T, and the K. Now, the allophones of Spanish and English. Now, what is an allophone? So first, we need to know that an allophone are variations of sounds of the same letter in different words. So an allophone is a variation or the different sounds that one single letter can have in different words. Okay? For example, in the case of the allophones for Spanish and English P is in Paul, we have a couple of them. We need to identify them. So let's pronounce and listen to the following words. We can do it first vertically and then horizontally. Okay, so first, Spanish P. If we notice right here in this chart, we can tell that this line right here are the phonemes. Okay, so P and P, phonemes. This line right here includes the phonetic features. Okay, this right here, phonetic features. And this last one right here, this one, it these are the different allophones for the same letter. So the symbols for the different allophones of the same phoneme. Okay. So for example, Spanish, the phoneme P or the letter P, we can tell that it only has one allophone, which is a voiceless bilabial stop unaspirated. Okay. Again, the Spanish phoneme P only has one allophone, which is a voiceless bilabial stop unaspirated, like in the words pata, peina, pica, poco, pulpa. So notice that there is no aspiration in it, like in the uh, allophone, which is an aspirated allophone at initial position in words in English. So pot. In this case, for English, English has three allophones for the phoneme P. Okay, so we have a voiceless bilabial stop aspirated. Remember that when we saying that a word is I mean that a phoneme is aspirated, when a puff of air is coming out of our mouth after the stop of the phoneme. So we don't say like P, we don't say P only, we say P, right? So that short puff of air at the end of the sound is the aspiration, the P, P. Not the same like in Spanish, which we only say pata, right? P, 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 pata. In English, which it is pot, right? Pot. So there is a short puff of air at the end of the stop in the letter. So pot, pain, peak, poke, pull, right? Then English also have a voiceless bilabial stop unaspirated, which is the same as the Spanish allophone. Voiceless bilabial stop unaspirated, and it normally is found in middle position of the word, like in the case of spot, Spain, speak, spoke, spool. In this case, we don't say spot, right? We don't say Spain or speak. No, we say speak. We say spot, Spain, speak, spoke, spool, right? Which is different. So in this case, the P is in middle position, and when it is in middle position, it becomes a unaspirated allophone. Then we have a third allophone for the P phoneme in English. which is the voiceless bilabial stop unreleased. So if you notice, like the first three features are the same, will always be voiceless bilabial stop, same for Spanish as well. The difference is in the last feature, which one is aspirated in initial position, one is unaspirated in middle position, and one is unreleased in final position. Notice the different allophone symbols, okay? The symbols of each allophone depending on the phoneme. So in this case, aspirated is like a P with a little H on top of it. The unaspirated is just like the letter P, and the unreleased is the letter P with like the equal sign besides it. So when we're talking about an unreleased sound, it means that there is no aspiration right after the stop. There is neither not an aspiration, so it is just unreleased. We just say stop, nape, keep, cop, loop, right? Again, stop, nape, keep, cop, loop. All right. So that is an unreleased. So knowing this, which is learned in this chart, we can say that Spanish P phoneme has only one allophone. English P has more than one allophone. It has three allophones. Number two, Spanish P in initial position is unaspirated. English P in initial position is aspirated. When English P follows S, it is an aspirated. So like in this case, right? English P followed by, right after the S. Okay, so SP, 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 SP. So that becomes an aspirated. So number four, when English P is in final position, it is usually unreleased. Number five, English P may be aspirated, unaspirated, or unreleased, while Spanish P it's always unaspirated. And number six, English P may occur in word final position, and Spanish P does not occur in word final position. Pay attention to these statements that I'm going to be mentioning because they might be part of your final exam. Now, some exercise we can have is in this case, for example, choose the native English pronunciation. Please give me a piece of paper. If we know that the English P in initial position is aspirated, knowing what is um, the symbol of the phoneme uh, of that allophone itself, which one do you think it is? A, piece, piece, or B, piece? So in this case will be B, right? Piece, since the H right above the P will tell us that it is an aspirated. Now, the pace of modern life is rapid. Which one do you think it is? A or B? B. I need more space. Will it be aspirated, unaspirated, or unreleased? So in this case, P follows the S, and it is in middle position. So um, it is unaspirated. Okay, so it will be space. Choose the normal English pronunciation. A red traffic light signal stop. We're talking about the last P right here. Will it be aspirated, unaspirated, or unreleased? In this case, will be unreleased, right? Stop. So in that case, is the P with the equal sign at the end of P. Alrighty. So now knowing that, we'll We will look at the next um, phonemes. Okay, this right here was for you to practice or for you to find out what is the correct pronunciation in this case. Okay, so words with SP and ESP. Listen to the following words. Read first vertically and then horizontally. Okay, so for example, Spanish ESP, especial, esposo, espía. We know that in Spanish the P sound will always be a unaspirated, right? Then we have English SP, special, spouse, spy, and then English ESP as well as specially, spouse, spy. Okay, so notice the difference. Special, especial, special, especially. Esposo, spouse, spouse. Espía, spy, spy. Now, English has words beginning with both SP and ESP. Okay, knowing this, we know that English has words that begin with both SP and ESP. Number two, choose the native English pronunciation. Do you speak French? Notice the phoneme symbol for ESP. There's like a backward 3 followed by SP. And then we have SP for SP initial position. So, knowing that, do you speak French? Will it be speak or speak? Of course, since we notice that it's only SP, will be option A. I am studying Esperanto. Will it be Esperanto or Esperanto? Pretty easy, right? So we know that it's Esperanto. Okay. Then we have consonant clusters, starting with P as well. The P sound. Let's listen to the following words. First, well, let's go ahead and read it horizontally. Playa, Spanish, play. Prensa, press. By, pure. Puedo, pliego. Prueba, prieta. Lapse, tipped. Depth, lapsed. Scripts, in depth. Okay, so looking at this chart, we notice that we have initial position PL in Spanish and in English, initial position PR in Spanish and English, and initial position PI in Spanish and English as well. But PU, PLY, PRU, and PRI, it will only be in Spanish but not in English. On the other hand, final position PS, PT, PTH, PST, PTS, and PHS will only be in English, okay, and not in Spanish. Knowing that, we can say that English has both initial clusters and final clusters. Spanish has initial clusters but not final clusters, okay? We should already know what a cluster is, right? If you don't remember, a cluster is a sound made out of two or more consonant sounds. Okay, so clusters are made out of two or more consonant sounds. So that's why we have PL, PR, right? PY. In this case, when we say pi but the phoneme, it's represented by PY, same as PUE. The phoneme is represented by PW. That is what it is. It's still a um, cluster, right? PLY, PRW, PRY. Okay, so going back, we can say that English has both initial clusters and final clusters. Spanish has initial clusters but not final clusters. Number two, we can tell that the initial cluster PL and PR and PY occur in both languages, Spanish and English. And English does not have the initial clusters PW, PLY, PRW, and PRY. Number three, in final clusters, English P may be followed by two other voiceless consonants. Alrighty, so then we have spellings. So we have a Spanish P like pata, tapa, and English P like papa, cup, and double P like happy. If you notice this H, like capital H and capital L, refers to uh, the um, the frequency of the phoneme grapheme correspondence, and this is determined statistically in large scale by studies of English spelling patterns. For example, we can tell that P is spelled P at a frequency rate of 95.56%, while the spelling double P occurs at a rate of 4.44%. The range of percentage of occurrence is here grouped into four categories as follow. High percentage of capital H meaning high frequency of spelling at 70% to 100%. M or capital M meaning medium frequency, spelling 20 to 69%. Capital L meaning low frequency, spelling from 1 to 19%, and capital R meaning rare, spelling under 1%. Note that the double consonant letter is pronounced as a single consonant sound. Orthographically, double consonants functions as a pronunciation signals for the preceding vowel. Okay, then we have the allophones for Spanish and English T, which is mainly like almost the same than the P sound. Alright, so we have the Spanish T, which is a voiceless dental stop unaspirated. Okay, right here, if you notice, we have a couple of differences in between Spanish and English features. So for Spanish, it is a voiceless dental stop unaspirated, like in tapa, ten, timo, toro, y tul. So we can say that Spanish only have one allophone for phoneme T, and English has 1, 2, 3, and 4 allophones for the phoneme T. The first one is a voiceless alveolar stop aspirated. It is represented by a T letter with a little H on top of it. And this is, for example, in the case of the words top, ten, team, tor, tool. So if you notice, The only difference between the T and the P as in Paul is that this one is alveolar. Well, the um, P sound is bilabial, right? Let's go back to it right here, bilabial. And then this T sound, they also have aspirated, unaspirated, unreleased, and unaspirated. Okay, so alveolar tap unaspirated. For example, we already saw these ones, these allophones right here. Then we have a voiceless alveolar stop unaspirated. For example, in the case of stop, is steno, steam, store, stool. Okay. Notice the difference that in initial position it is aspirated, top, 10, team, tor, tool. However, once an S is before the T sound, then it becomes an aspirated because it'll be in middle position. So in this case, top becomes stop, 10 becomes steno, team becomes steam, tor becomes store, and tool becomes stool. Then we have the voiceless alveolar stop unreleased, represented by a T and with an equal sign besides it. Okay, like in the case of pot, net, meat, route, and loot. So if you notice, the T sound it's almost almost silent, right? It's just like a real short touch that you have to do it to do to the sound, right? Pot, net, meat, road, loot, right? And then we have a voiced alveolar tap unaspirated. In this case, we have a voiced, which is the difference in between the other three, which are voiceless. In this case, this one is a voiced. Remember the difference in between a voiceless and a voiced is that a voiced sound, your vocal cords will actually vibrate. Okay, and then it's also alveolar, and it will be a tap instead of a stop. Okay, instead of a stop, it will be a tap, and it will be also unaspirated. So this one, almost like the T sound, becomes almost like the R sound. Okay, so will be pedal, letter, meeting, water, cutter, right? So the tip of your tongue will slightly touch, the palatal. Pedal, letter, meeting, water, cutter. Okay? So knowing this, we can tell that number one, Spanish T has one allophone, while English T has more than one allophone, four to be exact. Number two, the allophones of Spanish and English T differ in place of articulation. Number three, Spanish T in initial position is unaspirated, and English T in initial position is aspirated. Number four, we can also tell that when English T follows S, it is unaspirated. Number five, when English T is in final position, it is usually unreleased. Number six, an intervocalic position, English T is voiced alveolar tap, very similar to Spanish R, and it is symbolized as the R, the letter R, with like an apostrophe on top of it. Number 7, English T may be aspirated, unaspirated, unreleased, or voiced tap. Spanish T is always unaspirated. Number 8, English T may occur in word final position, and Spanish T does not occur in word final position. Okay, you can take a look to these examples and answer them yourself using the native English pronunciation for do you know how to type. This meat is tough. Choose the correct phonemes, the phoneme symbols. What stuff will you bring to the party? Please turn the turn turn off the light. Choose the correct allophone. The coffee is hot. Call me later. This bread is stale. Give it to the tall man. Then we also have words with ST and EST, which is almost the same as the P sound. Let's listen to the following words. Spanish EST, estado, estima, estrecho. English ST, state, steam, strange. English EST, state, steam, strange. Knowing this, we can tell that English words begin with both ST and EST, while Spanish words will never begin with ST, only with EST. We also have some consonant clusters starting with T. In the case of Spanish, we have tranca, tuerca, tienda, trueno, triunfo. We have also a couple of words in English that begin with a cluster, tray, twin, and tune. Then we have some English words that end or that will have a final position cluster or consonant cluster, like sixth, eighth, midst, and eighth. Knowing this, we can tell that there are no final consonant clusters in Spanish. Talking about the T sound, we can tell that the initial cluster TRW and TRY do not occur in English. And number 3, in final clusters, English T is followed by one or two voiceless consonants. Spelling: Spanish T like in tapa and gato. English T like in top, water, hat. We can tell that in English, in Spanish, since there's only one allophone for T sound, then there is no comparison in between frequency of use, right? In English, we can tell that the in the case of initial position top, water, middle, and hat, and final, they have a high frequency of use. Double T like better, mute, or muted, walked, sight, have a low frequency of use. The BT sound like in depth, TW like in to, PT like in domain, receipt as well, the CHT like in judged, and TH like in time will have a rare frequency of use. Note that double T is pronounced as a single consonant phoneme. A double consonant spelling is a pronunciation signal for the preceding vowel. Then we have the K sound. We'll finish with this one, which is almost the same as the P sound as well. So the allophones of Spanish and English for K sound, the allophone of Spanish and English K. Let's listen to the following words. Spanish K, voiceless, velar, stop, unaspirated, represented by this allophone, cara, que, quince, copo, culpa. English has three different allophones for the K phoneme. For example, the voiceless velar stop aspirated for car, Kate, king, cup, cool. Then we have the voiceless velar stop unaspirated like in scar, skate, skiing, scup, school. And then we have the voiceless velar stop unreleased, which is also represented by a K and like an equal sign besides it, like in rock, fake, neck, buck, look. Same as the unreleased sounds for T and P. The unreleased allophone, it's just a slightly touch at the end. Almost silence, but not silent. Rock, take, nick, poke, look. Okay? Knowing this, we can tell that Spanish K has one allophone and that English K has more than one allophone. Spanish K is a K sound in initial position is an aspirated, and English K sound in initial position is aspirated. Number 3, when English K follows S, it is an aspirated. Number 4, English K sound in final position is usually unreleased. Number 5, English K sound may be aspirated, unaspirated, or unreleased. And the Spanish K sound is always unaspirated. Number 6, English K sound may occur in word final position, while Spanish K sound does not occur in word final position. We can also practice by answering the following. Choose the native English pronunciation. New York is located on the East Coast. Which one do you think will be the correct allophone? Coast or coast? The coast is for unexpected guests. Do you think A for cut or B for cut? I can't find my book. Will it be A book or B book? You can also practice by writing the correct allophones in the following statements. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill." Which one out of the three allophones do you think is the correct one? Thou shalt not kill. I feel a little sick. The skirt must shorten. The skill must be shortened. Which one of the allophones do you think is the correct one? Then we also have consonant clusters starting with the K sound. In the case of Spanish, we have initial position K cluster, like in claro, crema, cuenta, quien, cloaca, cliente, cruel, en criada. In the case of English, we also have initial position clusters like in clear, cream, queen, cute. And in the case of final position cluster, we only will find them in English, like in the case of fix, act, fixed, sixth, fact, texts, and sixths. Knowing this, we can tell that Spanish does not have final consonant clusters. Number two, English may have up to 4 consonants in final clusters. Number three, after K sound, all other consonants in final clusters are also voiceless. We can practice by answering the following. Which phoneme do you think is the correct? We need 6 loaves of bread. Will it be 6 or 6? The story lacked imagination. Lacked or lacked? Have you looked over this text? Test or text? In regards of the um, frequency of use of the clusters for K sound, we can tell that Spanish K sound, like like casa, vaca, claro, and cruel. QU like in que, parque. Double C like in lección. And X like in extra. Khaki, K for khaki. They all have the same frequency of use because there is only one allophone. In the case of English, since we have different allophones for K sound, we can say that C for cat, locate, and disc have a high frequency of use. K like kid, monkey, milk. CK like ticket, lack. CH like chorus, mechanic, stomach. X like an extra. And double C like accord. They have a low frequency of use. QU like quiet. QU like liquor. LK like walk. KH like khaki. SC like viscount. CCH like in saccharin. CU like in biscuit. And QUE like in unique. They have a rare frequency of use. The spelling CK functions as a double consonant letter like double P or double T. Alrighty guys, so we got to the end of this lesson. We only discussed like the 3 of the most known um, consonants because there is a lot of them. In the book that is uploaded in the platform, we can continue looking at Unit 5. From page 67, we will find out voice stop phonemes like for B, D, and G, and so on. But because of time, we're gonna leave it right here. Now, what is coming on your exam? Your exam you will be you will have to review units from 5 to unit 9. From unit 5 to unit 9. Okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know. You can send me a message through WhatsApp or through my email. You have a great day, guys. Bye bye.